they said it would be peaceful. Merciful. But as I watched the monitor flatline, I felt nothing. Not sorrow, not relief. Just silence. Ethan's eyes had been empty for months, even before the diagnosis. A shadow of a man who used to calculate everything, down to my laughter. I signed the forms like they were receipts, DNR, cremation, no viewing, quick, clean, forgettable. The urn was heavy, heavier than I expected. Claire, my daughter from a previous marriage, stood beside me as we scattered the ashes off the cliffs near Cape Haven. The wind howled, taking him with it. I didn't cry. I was too exhausted from pretending. Ethan hadn't touched me in over a year. We lived like roommates. No, worse, like captor and prisoner. Afterwards, I called the insurance company. I remember the clerk's voice. "I'm so sorry for your loss." I thanked her. Lied easily. $3 million in life insurance. No questions. Asked. He'd set it up years ago, obsessive, paranoid. And now? His control was mine. But the dreams started soon after. I'd wake up gasping, his breath on my neck. I'd smell the bitter blend of his cologne and nicotine. Once I swore I heard his cough, the dry, hacking one he had toward the end. I'd shake it off. Tell myself grief was manifesting as madness. But something inside me whispered, no. Last night, the hallway light flickered. My bedroom door creaked open. And for a moment, I swore I saw his silhouette. Tall, thin, unmoving. But when I blinked, it was gone, wasn't it? 3 years. That's how long it's been since I signed the death certificate. Since I scattered what I thought were Ethan's ashes into the sea. Since I bought new curtains, repainted the hallway, and stopped whispering when I talked on the phone. Everything is easier. Claire's off at university, thriving. The house feels warmer without his icy stares. My laughter is real now. My bed, my rules. The money gave us freedom. No more scraping, no more guilt. I even started dating again, quietly. Nothing serious. I told myself I deserved it. That I'd paid the price. But some nights, I still sleep with the hallway light on. It started subtle. I'd find the kitchen window cracked open, even after double-checking it was locked. Once, I woke to music playing from Ethan's old Bluetooth speaker. One I hadn't touched in years. It was that song he loved, the one we danced to at our wedding. A coincidence, I told myself, until I found his wristwatch on the bathroom sink. I froze. That watch had been cremated with him. I remember slipping it into the urn myself, a symbolic gesture. Closure, the therapist said. I picked it up. It was ticking. The police were polite, dismissive. Stress can cause memory lapses, the officer said, not even bothering to write a report. Maybe you misplaced it. Misplaced a watch burned to ash? That night, I dreamt of Ethan standing in the doorway, soaked from rain, lips cracked in a smile. I'd never seen when he was alive. I woke to water on the hardwood floor, a trail. Leading to the back door, wide open, I checked every lock in the house, twice. And still, I didn't sleep. After the water trail incident, I bought a camera system. I told Claire it was for security, just to be safe. But really it was for me, for my sanity, for proof. The cameras came with an app. I watched them religiously. Front porch, kitchen, hallway, bedroom, every inch of the house covered. At first there was nothing, just dust particles and flickering bulbs. I almost convinced myself I was unraveling. That I missed the chaos. That maybe deep down I wanted Ethan to be back. Then, last Thursday at 2:14 a.m., the motion alert pinged. I was half asleep but wide awake in seconds. I opened the app. The hallway feed loaded. Static. Then, movement. A tall, thin figure stepped into frame. Slow. Deliberate. The walk. It was Ethan's. The same limp in the left leg from his skiing accident. He turned his head. The resolution blurred his face, but the posture, the stance, it was him. I gasped so loudly I woke up the dog. Rewound the footage frame by frame. At 2:15:04 a.m., the figure turned to the camera. I saw eyes, hollow, unblinking. Then the screen went black. I rushed downstairs, heart pounding. The hallway was empty, no trace. But the scent lingered. That same damn cologne. Faint, but there. I stood frozen for minutes, the dog growling low beside me. I called the company. System malfunction, they said. Interference or power surge. But the lights never flickered. The footage never returned. I saved what I could. Transferred the clip to my laptop. And that night, I locked every door again. I didn't sleep. Instead, I watched the footage on loop, looking for something. Anything. And at 2:15:06, a new detail emerged. His hand, it was holding something. A key. My house key. I stared at the key in my hand, frozen. The engraving on the side was unmistakable. It was his. The house key. Ethan's house key. It wasn't possible. How could it be? He was dead. He was supposed to be gone forever. The camera footage was grainy, just a blur of movement in the dim light of the living room. But it was there. Ethan's tall frame hunched under the doorway like an apparition. He reached for the table, picked up something, and walked toward the front door. There was no sound. The key. The key that I had thrown away in the trash weeks ago. It was the same. The one that opened every lock in the house. I stood there for a long time, the room spinning around me. The air was thick, pressing against my chest. Was I going insane? Had I lost my grip on reality? The fear wasn't just from the possibility of Ethan somehow coming back, it was the fear of being watched. That cold, familiar sensation washed over me. I reached for my phone and dialed Claire. It rang 3 times before she answered. "Mom, it's late. What's wrong?" she asked, half asleep. "Claire, you need to come home." My voice cracked and I couldn't stop the tremor that shook. My hands, why? What's going on? I hesitated. I couldn't explain. How could I? Just, please come home. The rest of the night was a blur of pacing, watching that video on loop and waiting. Every creak of the floorboards, every gust of wind outside had me flinching. The longer I waited, the harder it was to believe it wasn't happening. And just when I thought the night couldn't get any worse, I heard it. The same cough. The dry, hacking sound that had haunted me all those months ago. I wasn't alone anymore. I had never been good at confronting the truth. I liked to bury it. Bury it. In the ashes, the lies, the distractions. But when Claire arrived the next morning, pale and wide-eyed, the truth was already breaking through the cracks. "Mom," she whispered as if afraid someone might hear, "I found something." Her hand shook as she handed me an envelope, thick, sealed, and bearing no return address. My heart skipped a beat. I took it from her, tearing it open with a sense of dread pooling in my stomach. Inside was a letter. The handwriting was familiar. Too familiar. It was Ethan's. My pulse quickened as I read. "If you're reading this, then I've been gone longer than you think. This isn't over. I have one more thing to show you." The note didn't end there. There was an address, a small warehouse on the outskirts of town. I didn't know what to make of it. What could Ethan possibly want me to find there? Why would he leave me this gift? His death had been too clean, too final, or so I thought. Claire was staring at me with a mix of concern and curiosity. "Mom, you're scaring me. What does this mean?" "I don't know," I whispered, my voice trembling. I didn't want to tell her that every inch of me was screaming to run, to ignore this, pretend it didn't exist. But I knew. I knew that I couldn't. I had to go. The drive was suffocating. Every mile closer to that warehouse seemed to distort time, making the world feel unreal. What would I find there? Ethan's ghost? A message? When I reached the address, the first thing I noticed was the silence. No signs, no lights, just a shadow in the distance. I swallowed hard, stepping out of the car as the door to the warehouse creaked open. There, in the darkness, something glinted. The cold grip of fear tightened around my throat. The truth was waiting, and it would break me. The air inside the warehouse was thick with dust and shadows. I hesitated at the threshold, my pulse pounding in my ears, the weight of Ethan's letter heavy in my hands. Claire stayed in the car, her worried face pressed against the window. I couldn't blame her. The silence here was suffocating, like the walls themselves were holding their breath. I took a tentative step forward, the echo of my shoes the only sound in the vast emptiness. There was something about this place. It felt wrong. It was as if I had crossed into another world, one where the past didn't die and the present couldn't escape. I moved deeper into the warehouse, scanning the dark corners. Then I saw it. In the center of the room stood an old wooden crate, its surface marked with faded symbols I didn't recognize. It was positioned under a single dim light bulb that swung above, casting long, eerie shadows. My hands trembled as I approached. Inside, I found a stack of old photographs. They were yellowed with age, and as I flipped through them, each image made my stomach twist tighter. They were of Ethan, of me, and of a man I didn't recognize. But that wasn't the worst part. The photos weren't just snapshots from our life. They were staged. Each one seemed to document moments I'd never seen, things I never remembered doing. A photo of me laughing with someone I didn't know. A photo of Ethan and that man shaking hands, as though sealing some dark pact. At the bottom of the stack was a final photograph. Ethan, standing next to a woman, his hand resting possessively on her shoulder. The woman was me. But it wasn't the me I knew. It was the me from years ago. The woman in the photo looked terrified. I dropped the photos, the truth flooding over me like a tidal wave. Ethan wasn't dead, not in the way I thought. He'd staged it all. He'd faked his death to disappear, leaving behind nothing but a trail of lies and manipulation. Everything, the insurance, the ashes, the disappearance, it had all been part of his plan. A sick smile crept across my face. The game wasn't over. Not for me. Not yet. I could hear the car engine starting outside. Claire's voice crackled through the open door, but I didn't turn back. I couldn't. Because in that moment, I knew what I had to do. I wasn't just going to survive this. I was going to make him pay for every lie. The past had never really disappeared, and neither had Ethan.